nhiều Bhagavaram Sammasambuddho Swakatoyena Bhagavata Dhammo Supatipano Yasa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Tamayam Bhagavantam Sadaman Sasangan Ime Sakare Yadaram Arupite Abhipujayama Saruno Bhante Bhagava Sujira Bharini Bhutopi Pajima Janata Nugambanarasa Yeme Sakare Dugata Panaka Prabhute Patikanatu Amma Kandi Garata Hitaya Sukaya Arang Sama Sambuddho Bhagavan Buddhan Bhagavantan Abhivadi Swakato Bhagavata Namo Taman Varsani Supatipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangandamami Dvayam Buddhasa Bhagavato Bhapapanganamagarandaro Mesi Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhasa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhasa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhasa
And you must cover up, please. I'd like those who are regulars here to take note of this with new people's postures and covering, and to take responsibility to do something about it before I come in, please. So, everyone now, everyone here, everyone online, please sit up well. Good posture. Nice straight back. Chin up, head up. Body and mind alert. And you will have to remain now absolutely still for the next 55 minutes or so. And you close your eyes. And as you do so, you leave behind all that you've been doing, thinking about, worrying about. Everything to do with the past, you put down and you leave it. And we commence as usual by bringing to mind the Buddha, reminding ourselves of our great teacher and inspiration, recollecting in particular his perfect mind. And why is it called a perfect mind? Because it's free, completely clear of all defilement, of all corruption, of all forms of greed, hatred, and delusion. Not only was his mind free of these corruptions, but he was far distant from anything of that kind. His was also a mind of infinite compassion. A truly extraordinary being, perfect in knowledge and conduct. Now, whenever you think of the Buddha or you happen to see a picture or Buddha Rupa, remember to be inspired to do what you can to cleanse your mind too of all corruption and free yourselves utterly of all suffering. And remember this as doing yourselves a great kindness, an enormous favor. And remember too that as you walk this difficult path, you treat yourself with kindness and care. While also rejoicing in the fact that you are doing this and that you do good and meritorious things. Now we have to take a moment to remind ourselves yet again of the fact that we are, all of us, getting older. We are liable to become unwell or meet with an accident at almost any time. And we are certainly going to die. Aging, sickness, and death. This is our lot. This is the human existence. And there's nothing we can do about it, except learn from it, study it, face up to it, and be inspired to understand the nature of our being, which is what we're up to this evening. So please now check that you are sitting up well, perfectly still. Gather and concentrate your mind and establish mindfulness of just what you're doing at this moment. And what are you doing? Obviously, you are sitting and you are breathing. So be mindful and aware of that posture, of just how you are sitting, of just how you have arranged your body. And become aware of your breathing. And just where and how you perceive the breath. So it could be somewhere near the nostrils. It might be over the heart. It could be the abdomen rising and falling as you breathe in and breathe out. But wherever it is clear to you, never mind what anyone else says or does, where you know the breath, keep your mind there. And be mindful and aware as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And if this is new to you, you may benefit by counting your breaths. So you are mindful of breathing in, breathing out in your own time, at your own pace, and you count 1. And again, breathing in, breathing out mindfully, 2. And 3, 4, 5, up to 10. You count 10 breaths. And then you begin counting again from 1. 10 breaths. And 10 breaths. And 10 breaths. And so you go on. And of course, if you lose the count, if you catch yourself dreaming, thinking, worrying. As soon as you notice, you start counting again from 1. But you are supposed to be mindful of the breath. The count is to help you to stay with your breath and to let you know when you've lost it. Remember that if your mind wanders, if you're counting and you lose the count, or if you're not, and you find yourself dreaming, worrying about something or other, be mindful of what has happened. Be mindful of what is happening, of what you're doing. Note it. Acknowledge it. Pay attention to it. Let it go. And find the breath again. And again, try to keep your mind just there, poised, alert, mindful of each in-breath, mindful of each out-breath. Now you've all been sitting very well, very still. Please continue. Please carry on sitting just like that. But in the next few minutes, while I'm talking, listen. Practice the art of listening. And that means simply to listen. So try to remain completely still, alert, mindful, and listening. So this evening we've been practicing a very important exercise. We've taken some time to try and train our minds. And if this is new to you, you will have noticed that your mind doesn't take easily to what is, on the face of it, a very simple exercise. And that should tell you something very important, that you have little control over your mind, and therefore not much control over your life. And certainly not much control over what you understand or misunderstand. So we regard training the mind as very important. The first 2 verses of a very popular little text called the Dhammapada state that mind precedes all things. Mind is their chief, mind-made are they. If you speak or act with an impure mind, then suffering follows, even as the wheel follows the hoof of the ox. If you speak or act with a pure mind, happiness follows like the shadow that never leaves. These are two very important verses, and you would do well to remember them. Mind precedes everything that we know, everything that we experience. Yes, we see something, we hear something, but we color what we see and what we hear with our state of mind, our inner attitude. And if our minds are spoilt, if our minds are badly affected with greed, with anger and hatred, with delusion, then obviously our experience is going to be a troubled one. So it's very important that we do our best to clear up and cleanse our minds. And that's not an easy thing to do, because clearly we've been in the habit of doing things, thinking things, saying things in the way that we do for a very long time. And the world encourages us to follow our desires and attachments, to be angry, to have aversion and even hatred for enemies. And so this path is quite another one, quite different. But it's a sure path, and it's a direct path. And you need to understand this about Buddhist practice, that it has a purpose. It's very easy nowadays to read all sorts of books about Buddhism, or listen to a number of teachers on the internet. But I counsel you to be careful of that. You don't need to run to different teachers. Every one of you has a superb teacher with you all the time. You learn best from your experience, from watching your own mind, from paying attention to how you react to things, to the movements of your mind, to what you feel impelled to do and to say. Ajahn Chah, the great teacher that I spent years with, used to tell us, there's only one book worth reading: yourself, your mind, your experience. That's with you all the time. Learn to train your mind to become more mindful and aware and able to watch yourself. And of course, when you watch yourself, you will see greed and aversion. At first, when you hear about this, perhaps you don't think that you are a particularly greedy person or angry person, or that you don't suffer even. But when you pay attention, when you learn to watch yourself, you begin to realize that the picture the Buddha painted of one's mind is a very accurate one. There it is. These thoughts, these feelings, these attitudes come and go. And they're apt to control us. We're imprisoned by them. We're in their grip if we're not careful. And our purpose, our practice, is to break that grip, to free ourselves of our defilements, of these mistakes that we are continually making. So this is a very noble purpose. And it's an important practice. And it goes directly to the experience of freedom. Freedom from suffering, freedom from greed, hatred, and delusion. But it's a demanding path. It does ask of you that you commit to it, that you pay attention to how you behave, that you do your best to give up harming any person or any creature, and that you learn to control and develop your mind. And that requires patience and determination and practice. But in that respect, it's not unlike many skills that some of you will have. Playing an instrument, practicing yoga, dancing, all sorts of things that people spend a great deal of time learning how to do. Skills that you have, skills that you maintain, skills that you rely on for your livelihood and for your pleasure. This is another one. But this is a far more important one, because this can make a big difference to your life. It can change your life completely. It can turn your life around. It can make use of everything you experience. It can turn even your defilements, even your drawbacks, to your advantage. It's a great learning process. And it begins with practicing concentration. Now, I know that sometimes people will come to a place like this expecting easy answers or exotic and extraordinary experiences. And being asked to sit still and watch your breath or count your breath is a bit disappointing. But can you do it? How well can you do it? And then when you do it, you may be surprised at what it teaches you. You think it's just sitting and watching your breath, keeping your mind there. But in time, it opens many doors for you. For instance, now you probably don't think much about your breath normally. Everyone breathes. While we're alive, we're all breathing, breathing in, breathing out. Sometimes we're concerned about it because we've caught a cold and we can't breathe very well. Or we're in some sort of situation where, for some reason, our breathing is affected. What we don't notice is that our breathing is a phenomena which is changing. And furthermore, that each breath depends on the one that went before. Your breathing, watching your breathing, introduces you to the principle of dependence, which you may think when you hear about it is pretty obvious. But we blithely go through life without thinking how much we depend on so much. And in time, observing your breathing, and then beginning to observe your mind, your experiences, you begin to notice, you begin to realize, and this is not something you will think about, but you will notice that your life is a succession of experiences. Now, we don't normally think like that at all, do we? And we easily think about me and you and this and that. And we're entrapped by these conventions. And we never look closely. We never try to see really and truly what they really are. And especially, we don't look closely at ourselves. But just watching your breath can have profound consequences. It's an extraordinarily powerful tool. So please make use of it. And please do your best to become skilled in using it. And remember that the goal of Buddhist practice is liberation. Liberation, freedom from suffering. And that's enough from me for tonight. We'll sit for just a moment or two longer. And in these closing moments, please bring into your mind loving kindness. And as you breathe in loving kindness for yourself. When you breathe out loving kindness for everyone and everything. Just for a few moments. May you and all beings be well and happy. May you and all beings be free from all suffering. May you and all beings realize for yourselves the secure peace of Nibbana. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavanta Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavanto Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. So thank you all very much for coming. Very nice to see you all. I hope you have a good week and we'll meet again soon.